All right, come out to the warehouse here. So, you know, if you've ever worked retail, you might be familiar with a word called shrinkage. You know what that is? Mm-mm. So shrinkage is lost product that you can't account for.
Okay.
Lost revenue, right? So say it says you have 10 on the shelf, you go do your inventory, you only have 9. You can't account for that one, right?
Yeah.
So whether it was stolen or accidentally put in an extra box, whatever. So we've created a system, this has been over quite a few years, that keeps us, it guarantees that we hardly ever make a mistake. And so I'll kind of show you how that system works. But essentially, customer service will place an order, right? Goes into this system and they print out back here what's called a pick ticket.
Yep.
And all it is something they scan. So see this rack over here, it's got a bunch of bins and they're numbered.
Yep.
Taped across the bottom is a pick ticket.
Yep.
You see that white? Okay.
Yep.
So they can pull multiple orders at a time. So when they start, they'll go through and they'll scan each one of those in their gun. And now the gun knows every product they have to pick and the order that it's associated with. So then they start walking the aisles. And the gun knows the bin location.
Right.
And it will tell them what they need to pick as they walk down the aisle.
Sure.
So they start from a central point every time. And then they just start working their way down. And the gun will say, all right, your next item is Bay 412X or whatever. I'm not going to say or pretend like I have it on memorized, right? So they'll walk over. They'll be like, all right, that item goes here. So they're going to scan the shelf. Then they're going to pick the item out of the box and scan the item. Then they're going to scan the order and put it in there. So 3 processes to make sure they got the right spot, the right product, inside the right order, right?
Yep.
They go up and down these aisles, and they do it all the way through the warehouse until they get to the last one, and then they bring him back here. In fact, see, he's about to start a row right here. So this is where they box them up, and the cool thing is they basically do it all again.
Okay.
So they'll start with one order, they'll scan it, they'll put it over here, it'll come up on the computer screen, and as they're boxing it, they scan every item that goes into the box.
Sure.
So it gets scanned again, right? They box it up, throw it down the row, tape machine tapes it up and puts it on the UPS truck. Well, the cool thing is we got cameras at every station, multiple cameras. So let's say we get customer calls up and says, hey, I just got my order,
missing something.
but I'm missing a pair of gloves. Okay, well, we're really sorry to hear about that. Let's just go check it out and see if we can figure out what happened there, right? So the first thing we'll do is we'll look at the weight. Every item in the warehouse has a registered weight. So we know what the box weighs, and we can look at the weight and be like, well, according to the weight, it looks like everything was in there. So what we'll do then is we'll pull up the footage and see if it got thrown in the box, right? If it got thrown in the box, we have a digital, we know, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we'll call the customer back, we'll say, hey, looks like it was packaged complete. We apologize you didn't get it. It sounds like this is a shipping claim. Please contact the shipper. Oh, no. I know you guys are, I know it's not shipping. Yes, sir. I tell you what, we'll send you the video footage.
Yeah.
So then we can send them the video footage. Everything's time stamped.
Of their items,
time marked, yep. See here, sir, here's it going in the box. Here's it going down the line. Here's it going in the truck, right? And so that prevents 2 things. One, if there really is a shipping issue, we know we did our part, right?
Sure.
And they really do need to work with the shipper. And 2, it prevents people from trying to scam. And that happens, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's not a lot, but we do have people that try to get, they'll scam us and say, hey, I didn't get this when actually they really did get it, right? So the cool thing about that is the process designed to help us to keep from making mistakes, eliminate the human error side of it, because there's multiple scans, multiple checkpoints. Not that we don't, we still can, right?
Sure.
But it does reduce problems and mistakes significantly. Down to the point where when we do inventory, we virtually hardly ever have an inventory that's off. Very rarely.
That's pretty good.
So it's a money saver,
Yeah.
But it's also a time saver. And it's also a customer service thing. It gives us the opportunity to make sure that the customer's getting a good experience because they're always getting the right product, right?
Yeah.
So big warehouse, we'll just walk all the way through it, walk around and come back.
So is this your only fulfillment
No, good question.
warehouse?
No, it's not. We have 3 warehouses currently.
Okay.
We have this one here in Idaho. We have what we call the East Warehouse, which is in Ohio. We have a European warehouse in the Netherlands. And then we do have a couple of distributors that we contract to, and they act as their own warehouse. They're not our warehouse, they're theirs, and we sell them the product, and then they warehouse it and sell it to their dealers.
Got it. Okay.
I think we have one in Mexico, South America, Asia, like there's like 3 or 4 around the world.
Sure.
Spread out.
Yeah, we're.
Is this the biggest?
This is the main one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the biggest. I think our Ohio warehouse is fairly good size too.
Gotcha.
But this one's. We're actually kind of set up in a temporary mode because of the construction right now. So we've moved some things in kind of a temporary position. The line is not the way it normally is.
So does your Ohio one take care of like the East Coast side?
As much
this
as we
one's
can.
more the West? Okay.
We will cross ship if we have to.
Yeah.
But the computer system looks at the location and figures out what warehouse it makes most sense to ship from.
Sure. Yeah.
And then it sends the order to that warehouse. Now, let's say that warehouse doesn't have it, but the other one does. It'll still ship. Say we're shipping something to New York, but we have it in this warehouse. It's still going to come out of here.
Got it.
So it has to be a multifaceted system.
Yeah. Everything's talking to each other all at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've grown. The last 3 or 4 years, we've grown so fast. Like we've just recently added warehouses, and so trying to get the computer system to we've had to hire third-party programmers to help us get it running.
Sure.
It takes time.
Yeah.
So we're kind of learning. We've learned a lot in the last couple of years with that growth.
Yeah. Good.
But the system we have right now is working really well for us.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we're going to add on to this warehouse again next year to add another. I think each one of these bays is 20. Don't quote me on this, but I think 25,000. So we're going to do another, I think 50,000 in the spring. They started on it already.
Yeah.
So you can see. Remember, we were in the studio, and you could see the plastic where they were working.
This is the
through.
backside.
Yeah, that's the backside. This is going to be a new R&D area where they're going to keep all their equipment. So, cool. He's got that laser for the ceiling. They're putting the drop ceiling.
Oh yeah.
They're going to have some mills and lasers and 3D printers and things in there. Don't be nervous. You're on camera.
We came to get a clip of the professional.
That's right. We want to see how it's really done.
See the bones of this place.
You can just ignore us. So yeah, there's they've built this room to have some special ventilation, some things for some machines, and we're literally like I think a week or 2 away from having it ready.
Gotcha.
Sweet.
But yeah, we'll cut all the way through the warehouse, kind of do a loop, and we'll end up in the marketing bay, and I think we're gonna hang out there for the rest of the day.
Cool. Okay. So one question I do have, you had mentioned it earlier, how you guys, you're pretty full, but there are some items that are out of stock. So for example, like I was looking at, I don't know if it was the Gauntlet heated glove or maybe it was the Power Cross, and it was available for pre-order, expected date of like May of next year.
So
what are some of the things, like obviously each product there's so many, but for that example, like what's the holdup with stuff like that, or like your airbags that are?
That's a great question, and that it's a little bit of a multifaceted answer. So there are still some lingering COVID challenges with manufacturing, and the gloves and the helmets and the bags are 3 examples of some of that.
Okay.
Things don't always go according to plan, right?
Right.
And
I understand.
If you're familiar with what's been happening in Asia at all, they're dealing with COVID differently than we have, and it's been more of a lingering problem over there. So 2 of our factories were completely shut down for like 2.5 months this year, still.
Got it.
So, you get the fabric there, you get it shipped there, and then they shut the thing down.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So helmets we had, and I get it. I mean, you get a factory, you've got 1,000 workers. You've got to protect those workers.
Yeah,
and if you get something, you don't want to have. I can't imagine being in a position where I got to make that decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But at times they've had to shut the factories down. Microchips are hard to get in some areas, and the airbags use microchips. So we placed our PO last year, and we actually only got about, I think it was like 70% of the order that we placed, just because they couldn't source the parts. Right. So our vendors, we have great relationships with our vendors. They have challenges. They work as hard as they can for us. So I think, we're probably we knew that there was probably going to be a couple of years of lingering challenges. Shipping, thankfully, has kind of gotten back to normal. For a while there, we had boats sitting off the coast for 90 days. That they couldn't unload. There was like 200 boats sitting off the LA harbor for
I remember.
like 4 months. We're past that now. Made some adjustments there. But there's still a couple of our vendors that their world's a little different than ours, and so they have regulations and things. They can only work. I know when they're dealing with some COVID things, they'll do 50% capacity. They'll only let like 2 shifts, so that say one shift gets it, they're not infecting the other shift or whatnot.
Sure.
So it's just they've put some things in place that have slowed production down, and they're doing the best they can. But it sounds like they're kind of getting even past some of that now, so hopefully our next year's product will be a little bit more back to normal. And then the other problem is, in the last 3 years, we've grown not quite 50%. So like if we were building 2,000 of a bid 3 years ago, now we're building 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000 or whatever, and now we're asking the factory to give us more factory time and up their production. And if they were already having a hard time with production because of COVID and things, those all compound. And so, from a consumer looking at things, they're like, well, why isn't my snowmobile built? Or why isn't my gear here? Well, it's because there's all these factors in the background that they don't necessarily see, but they're real. And it is. And I feel bad for the people that are working all night trying to solve those problems, right? Like our staff's done that.
Sure.
You look at Polaris and Skidoo, their staff's done it. This year is better than last year. We had a hard time getting things delivered last year. This year we had 70% of our product here by the end of November. Okay. So gloves was the one thing that we were hurting with, and helmets. Gloves and helmets were the 2 big things we were hurting with. We do have another production run of the airbags coming end of January. Okay. But it's not enough to fill all the orders. Sure. Gotcha. Yeah, just doing the best we can. I think next year it'll be a little better. Yeah. Good. So, anyways, it kind of gives you an idea of the size of the warehouse. Yeah, it's big. Everywhere you see one of these bulkheads. So this red, see the concrete's been cut? Yeah. Well, this was an add-on. Okay. So we add on about every 2 years. Okay. And you saw how many of those bulkheads we walked through. Yeah. So this has been added on to 5 times. Yeah. Wow. Or 6 times. Wow. And again, we just started a new one. So.
How much land do you guys have out there?
We had to buy more last year.
Did you?
Yeah, we bought I think like 40 more acres. Okay. So we have enough. We have enough to go 7 more ads or something like that, and then we actually could even build another part of the building. Got it. Okay. Nice. So we should be good for a while. But it just all depends on the growth rate, what the economy does, what the industry does. Sure. Right now we're behind with space. We need more space. Yeah. So, this is kind of cool. Let's talk about this for a second. So, go ahead. You go. You got a job to do. We're in your way. Sorry, buddy. So, one thing I don't know if this is unique to us. I feel like it might be. We check everything in by hand. So we get, a container will get offloaded into a semi. Semi shows up here. We unload it. We lay it out. So that's why we have this big area here. Everything gets laid out and checked. Got it. So, with COVID, we did have some challenges with quality control because we had 3 quality control people full time. They couldn't go in the factories. They wouldn't let them in. So our quality control was really after the fact. Like normally we have a QC person at the factory checking things as it's coming off the line. If there's a problem, they can correct it then, right? Well, we couldn't do that for 2.5 years. No company could. Yeah, it wasn't just us, right? Sure. So, being able to check things after we check things in, and we're checking quantity, and we're also doing a little bit of QC at the same time. And so you see these guys literally going through every box one by one, and everything in the warehouse is pretty much done that way.
Gotcha.
It just guarantees that our inventory is correct. Items are in the right box at the right place.
Sure.
And if something major is an issue, we can kind of see it. We don't necessarily take it out of the package, but we can see if there's something that doesn't look right.
Yeah, got it.
So a lot of work to do that.
Sure.
We unload all the dock over here. You've all seen a dock, nothing special.
Yep.
But most of the product comes in through there, and then it goes straight to there and gets unboxed. So anyways, that kind of covers the warehouse. Let's head into the marketing bay. This is my favorite spot of the building. You'll see why. I mean, I'm a motorhead.
Yeah.
I started racing. I started riding when I was a kid, and I raced motorcycles. Started when I got to be an adult. Started racing snowmobiles. Wanted to go faster. Wanted to build motors. Got a job at a speed shop. Started to learn how to build motors, learn how to make things go fast. So I've always been just kind of a nerdy motorhead, right?
Yep.
So because we're a company of people that rides, and we do all of our own marketing, we don't third-party source to agencies and things like that. We need to have quite a few assets to get our marketing material for catalogs and advertising and social media and things like that. So this is called the marketing bay, and we use it for two major things. We store all of our assets that we ride. We also store all the assets that we use for shows. So booths, what you're seeing on these shelves are supplies for booths like Heydays, Salt Lake Show, Denver Show, mannequins, displays. Most of that's all on these shelves in boxes and bins. And then we have, at any point in time, 10 or 12 snowmobiles, 3 or 4 snow bikes. We got some guys out on bikes doing some filming right now, so we have one here at the time. But and then we have a shop to take care of it all. Full operating shop.
/ podcast studio.
Yeah, right now it's going to be used as a podcast studio. We've run air through it. We got solvent tanks. We got tire changing machine. We've got specialty tools for snowmobiles. Flywheel pullers, clutch, work on clutches, service all that stuff. So at any point in time, you might come back here and we might have 2 sleds tore apart or 2 bikes tore apart. I got a bike lift right here. So we do a good part of our own builds here. For years, we've done specialty. We'll do a specialty build, a sled or a bike, and do magazine articles on it and stuff, and go ride with editors and stuff. So, this is a fun spot. Spend a lot of time back here. Most of the people that are involved in riding in some form, they can bring their stuff back in here if they need to work on it at some point in time. So, pretty neat to have that here. People look at a clothing company and be like, well, why do you need a shop in the back? Well, it's just, we ride, whether it's all our sleds or we have sleds that people can check out. I've got, being the holidays, a lot of people are wanting to go to the cabin or ride over the holidays. So almost every one of these snowmobiles will be checked out this weekend.
Yeah.
So
heck yeah.
Yeah, pretty neat spot. See, we got a sled on the lift right now that we were working on. We just moved it out of the way, putting some shocks. Playing with some shocks.
So what do you mean these are checked out? Are they checked out to people in the...
Employees.
I was going to say employees in the company.
Employees. Yep. So, sometimes we'll hire people that maybe have never ridden, and we take them riding. We teach them how to ride.
Heck yeah, that's cool.
So we got a couple people in the accounting department that are, they're still learning to ride, and they're taking them out and riding. And so I would say 80% of the people under this roof ride.
Nice. Wow.
And that's a big deal.
Heck yeah.
That's important. So...
Yep.
Yeah, we got a couple lady shredders here. They rip it up pretty good, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So that's kind of the tour. Hopefully it was interesting. And,
no, it was great. I learned a ton.
Gives you some insight to the company and who we are and why we do what we do. And
that was really cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking us through everything.
Yeah.
I love seeing the material hands-on and stuff. That was really cool.
That's a pretty cool. Big eye-opener.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We should do some. I should do a couple little demos with you that we can do. I'll show you how Gore-Tex works and some of the materials. I need to get a couple supplies to do it though.
Okay.